Alrighty, y'all. So welcome to this video, missed Zoom class for Thursday, January 21st. So this video is to go over what you might have missed in Zoom class on Thursday, January 21st. So a couple of general announcements before we begin. One, you have a periodic table exam coming up on Tuesday. So on your main Schoology page, whether it be period 1 or 5, go ahead and scroll down to this calendar events right here. So this reminds you that, hey, on Tuesday, January 26th, you're going to have a Unit 4 Open Notes test. And linked in here is the study guide along with the answer key. So if you click on that, go ahead and click on step number 2. And it opens up your periodic table exam study guide. So notice that on here, these are all the lessons that we've gone over in Unit 4. So the first column is all of the Nearpod lessons. Second column is just the link to the lesson slides. And the third column is the link to just the YouTube video, right? So that should help you out. And then notice below that there are 2 sections. The basic section is just common key terms that you should know for Unit 4, right? So it's fill in the blank, blah, blah. And then in the proficient section are practice problems or problems that you will most likely see on your unit exam. So you might also notice that before the question, there's like the number 4.6. This one says 4.5 and 4.6. This one says 4.3. So what these numbers refer to are the Nearpod lessons. So if you're getting stuck on a question and you can't answer one of these questions, know that this has something to do with what we learned in Nearpod lesson 4.3. So you might want to go back and scroll up and rewatch the video for lesson 4.3, or maybe double check the slide notes for Nearpod 4.3, so on and so forth, right? So that should help you out in terms of figuring out how to solve these problems on your own. Once you've done a couple of these practice problems, notice at the very top of the study guide, it says link to Unit 4 answer key. So if you click on this, it will open up this document with a green background. And if you scroll down, you'll notice that all of the correct answers are in red. So that will let you know how you would have scored if this was a real test, right? And this is just your way of checking how prepared are you or how ready you are for your Unit 4 exam. And since your Unit 4 exam is open notes, I highly recommend that you have your notes next to you when you're working on this study guide. Another thing for your announcements is that your grades are updated on Schoology. Please make up your work by Friday. You don't want a phone call home. So basically, if you have below a 73% right now, expect like a notification home just to let you know these are the things that you can do to improve your grade and demonstrate your mastery of medical chemistry stuff. So today we're talking about lesson 4.9, and we're also reviewing for our Unit 4 exam. So in the past couple weeks, we learned that we need ions or salts to sustain how our body functions. We also know that ions have an overall positive or negative charge, and this occurs when they gain or lose electrons in order to remain stable. And then we talked a little bit about the periodic table and the patterns in the periodic table. So today we're kind of putting together what we learned about ions and what we learned about the periodic table in order to use 3 tests to figure out which ion our patient might be missing or might have too much of. Right. So to do that, there wasn't really any classwork today. We mainly started on lesson 4.9, and if you finished early, Your next step is to update your medical chemistry unit 4, the periodic table progress tracker, and then to also review for your exam on your Schoology page. So let's talk about step 1, where you need to complete the lesson. So going back onto your Schoology page, let's go to the main page here. And scrolling down to week 3, today is Thursday. So you should see the assignment either on the upper right-hand side, where it says Homework Unit 4, the Periodic Table, Lesson 4.9, or under the Week 3 folder, the yellow January 21st, Thursday class materials folder, where it says Homework Unit 4, the Periodic Table, Lesson 4.9. So this particular one is more like a performance task, right? So we're going to apply what we learned in order to solve a problem, is what I mean by a performance task. So your goal is you're given a patient and you have to figure out which one of these 5 ions is causing your patient's symptoms, right? So if you're not sure what you're doing here, feel free to watch these 3 videos. These first 2 are optional because they're kind of just a review of what we've learned in previous Nearpods. But in part 3, this one is mandatory because you haven't learned how to solve this one yet, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and open this document by following steps 2 and 3 or watching this video. Right. Notice there were a couple of glitches. So if Schoology is glitching on you as well, feel free to just send me an email at qquan@slusd.com. Let me know you can't open the document and I will manually make a copy for you. So when you click open this, it looks like this, right? So essentially, you're going to take 3 steps in order to identify what ion, which one of these 5 is causing your patient problems. A reminder that directions are in blue and key questions that you definitely need to answer are in red. And notice that at the end of each direction, if you don't remember this lesson that we went over, I've linked the Nearpod lesson video below just to remind you of what we learned in the past to help you out with each section. Right. So section 1 is identifying the patient's symptoms. Section 2 is figuring out whether this ion is a metal or a non-metal. Section 3 is figuring out which exact ion it is, right? And notice that on the directions, I've linked to videos to help you out. And then finally, section 4, you're just answering what is your final question? Like, what ion do you think this is? And do they probably have too much or too little of this ion? Right, so this isn't due until Sunday of this upcoming week, right? And you'll also have class time on Friday to complete this as well. So if you're getting stuck, feel free to ask me questions on Zoom class on Friday, or if you can't make it to Zoom class, again, just send me an email at qquan@slusd.us.